Hello, everybody. Okay, that's much better because the last time I recorded, I forgot to turn on the mic, but that's okay. This time, I enabled the mic and it should be finer now. So yeah, let's begin the tutorial. Currently, I don't think anybody's here. If there is somebody here, then well, hello. Um, In this case, I'm gonna zoom by much faster, considering nobody is here currently. But if you have any questions, feel free to tell me to slow down and ask. Yeah, just in case you're zooming by. Oh, hello. Welcome, welcome. Um,
Right.
so, how's everyone doing?
I'm good. Am I the only one here?
Yeah, I have no idea why, but it's okay. Considering that I am actually recording this, it's fine if they can watch it later. And yeah, I actually made the tutorial earlier because I don't like to record at night anymore. I do
Oh,
have a bit of more work to deal with in the night.
yeah,
Yeah,
I see.
yeah. So today is just a review of what we are doing in week 6. So
Oh, so like array lists and stuff.
yep, so that's
Yeah.
typecasting, some array list, a bit of static variables and functions. I briefly mentioned that in like the previous tutorial, but this time it's a bit more in detail. And finally, we have something like variable length arguments, or for some people, variable arguments or variadic arguments. There are different names, but they point to the same thing. Okay? So
Yep.
yeah. So let's begin. So typecasting. This is a brief review because it's so similar to casting that I don't want to even talk too much about it. So what we have is in casting, you are converting one primitive type to another. Okay, I'm sure you've done this before now, right?
Yeah, yeah, sounds familiar.
Yeah. And for example, you have a long type A, which is 1,000, and you can convert that A to an integer and store it in B, well, which is an integer. But notice that since long is a larger data type, you will potentially lose data if you're using larger numbers. We're lucky in this one though, because it's just 1,000. 1,000 is easily stored in an integer, right? So
Yep.
yeah, in this case, there's no problem. Like both are just whole numbers, and 1,000 is also in the range of an integer. So
Right.
this works. But note that I have to explicitly cast it because I'm downsizing the size of A. Okay?
Yep.
Now you could do the similar thing to the object reference of a class. You can actually convert the class of you can actually convert the reference of a type of class to another. But there is a bit of restrictions as to what you can do though. The thing is, here's an example. I'm sure you may have heard of this in lectures, but the objects class is basically the parent's class to all the other classes you see in Java, right? You can like the objects class provides functionality, the basic methods like the equals method. So you've seen that a lot, but yeah, and all the classes are implicitly derived from the objects class. Okay, all of them.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing here is first I have a fruit. Fruit again also derives from objects. So it's kind of like the child class of objects. In the future, we'll learn about those terms like child class and parent classes. But maybe this may be important for typecasting as well. Okay, so
Yeah.
I have
Sorry,
this.
I'm not really sure what's going on here. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm not
It's
really
okay.
sure what's going on here. So you have a fruit object, fruit F, and then object. What's the third line?
The
I
third
don't.
line is a fruit object. So it's I'm not sure if it implies very well, but since fruit is derived from object, the object class, this is what we call an upcast. So in the future when we learn inheritance, oh, you're gonna learn about the parents and child classes so much that you may understand this eventually. But
Yeah.
upcasting means going from a more specific class to a less specific one. So, for example, I have a vehicle. A vehicle can be like what is it? A car, a truck, a bus, a van. Like you can name any vehicle you like, right?
Yeah.
But I can be a bit more specific as to which vehicle I'm talking about. Like I want a van, okay? Just a van. But a van is a type of vehicle. So sometimes when we pass data around, we may want to pass it as a vehicle, like just a vehicle. So we can. So since a van is specifically from a vehicle, uh, in that I'm not sure if you understand what I mean. So van coming from the vehicle means that's an upcast. So I'm just turning the van and pass it on as something a bit more vague, like a bit more general, if you will. Okay?
Yeah. So
Yep.
it's like passing class van into like class vehicle. Did I get that right?
Yep, you can. Yep, so that's like upcast because and since fruit, the fruit class that I kind of defined maybe somewhere, is actually it's actually derived from object. I can safely upcast it as an object class, like as an
Okay.
object type object. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, since this is an implicit way to upcast, this is fine in Java. But the opposite is different. The opposite, which is coming from a more general type to a more specific type, or general class to a specific class, is called downcast. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. And in downcast, you have to be explicit. And that's about it. So for example, I have an object that is potentially actually a fruit type, but I want to work with that object obj like it's a fruit. So I do a downcast. That is assuming that it succeeds.
Okay. So you typecast object as a fruit, basically.
Yep, that's right. So yeah, typecast, it might be confusing at first since we haven't learned about inheritance yet, but this is useful in like different applications where we deal with a lot of inheritance. I may have to pass along general class types. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. That's all for typecasting actually. There's not a lot I want to talk about here because it's casting but for classes. Okay?
Yeah. We have. Do you like go more into it when you go when we go into inheritance, like you said? Or-
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
All right. So let's see if there's something. I'm actually taking a look at a few things. Okay. So nothing here for now. Right. Let's go to the next thing, which is array list. I'm sure you've heard of it before, right?
Yep.
Okay. In that case, hang on. Hang on, let me go back to OBS. Okay. So, there are times that we want to store things that have a dynamic size, like maybe a list of players that come and go, right?
Yep. Yeah. True.
Yeah. But there's a thing. Since the things we store sometimes can grow and shrink as they please, the arrays we use a lot don't like that. I'm sure you know, right?
Yeah. There's a few differences between arrays and array lists that I'm aware of.
Yep,
Like you can change array list sizes, but you can't change an array one. For array
correct.
list, you can kind of just change things as you go if you want to.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we have arrays that cannot resize themselves once they're created. So that's a problem, right? And I'm sure
Yep.
you know, but they complain when they try. Like they do.
Yeah.
So, what should we do? Well, as the name implies, we use a thing called array list. Okay? Um What this does is it can act like an array, but it also can have a dynamic size. So you can add stuff, remove stuff. You can do whatever you want with no worries. Okay, so
Yeah.
array list is also a class that we use a lot, and well, since it's a class, you can initialize it using the new keyword. Here I have an example. So, and I first specify the type of variable I want. For example, in this case, array list. But there's something weird about the way I wrote the data type. You can see that we have the angle bracket inside with an int, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying here is I want to create an array list of integers. Yep.
Yeah, that's an array list of integers. Yeah.
Yep. And array list is actually a generic class. Generics mean that there is a thing called the type parameter. In our case, we use the int. You can specify which type you want to work with in that class, and that generic class will adapt to it with no problem, assuming that you implement them correctly. For example, in the ArrayList class, I want to store an array of integers. So what do? I just write the name ArrayList and add a pair of angle brackets with the data type I want to work with inside. In that case, an integer. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's what generic classes look like. And of course, just like any other object, we use the new keyword and then we specify the same data type again and add a pair of brackets. And of course, a semicolon. Inside the bracket, inside the round brackets, you can specify how the initial size as well if you want to. That is, if you can predict what the size is. Okay? That's
Yep.
about it. Yep. So here's an example if to get you all to practice a little bit. I have this thing called list, okay? Assuming this is inside the main method, I'm going to make this list and I'm gonna initialize it and I'm gonna add these integers and maybe remove something too. So here's a very easy question. How many elements are in the list after the entire code is run? Like after, okay?
Uh, you have three, I think, right? Or three, because you remove one, right?
Correct. You actually have three. You have four integers and then you remove one of them.
Yeah, when you say remove three, you're removing the three is the index, meaning where it's 0, 1, 2, 3, you're removing the last element,
Yep, that's
right?
right.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
you have as you can see in my comments, yes, removes the integer with the target index. And that's about and that's as simple as it gets. The add ones are just adding values to the list. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another question is what is the removed element?
71.
71, correct.
That's the last element.
Yep. You can see that I actually wrote 3 here because the 3 means the third index. Just like arrays, you start the indices with 0. And that's basic knowledge at this point. So yeah, it's 71. Very simple. And fun fact, remove will give you the thing that it removes as the return value. So you can use it however you want. So I hope you find that useful. So that's array list. A couple of more things about array lists is that unlike an array where you use the length or the length property as the size as the number of elements, we use the size method. Okay, make sure you know this because if people actually mess it up, then the whole program's gonna crash. Yeah. Okay. And you can actually use the enhanced for loop to actually loop through each element in an array list. So I'm sure when you covered arrays, you've seen this for loop, right?
Yeah, I just don't understand The syntax for this for loop for array list, that's the only thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the same thing for arrays.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, uh, you write the for to declare a for loop. Inside though, instead of like starting a counter and giving it conditions and change and how it's changed, we just first declare a variable that represents each element, and your data type has to be correct or has to be compatible with the list that you specify here. For example, the list from last slide is an integer, right? So right here, an integer, well, a list of integers. So I have to use an integer variable to represent each element. So think of num as each element, okay? And right here, I'm just gonna print each number in a single line. That's it. Yeah. Any questions so far? I can move on, right? Yeah? Okay. So, I can move on now. Again, just let me know if you want me to slow down or not. All right. So, another thing about array lists, which I will actually demonstrate in the live demo today, is using to array to turn the array list back to an array. Okay. This is useful in like different applications where you have to call methods that only take in arrays. Okay? Yeah. So maybe this is not covered, but it's a good thing to know. That I would demonstrate as well. And that's about it. And so any questions on array lists so far? Hmm.
I don't have any questions personally.
No questions? Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. No worries. We don't have a lot of people here, so yeah, I expect not a lot of questions here, but good to know that you all understand this stuff because it's a really useful class to use and it's used in a lot of applications. So,
I think we used the array list and stuff in Lab 5.
yeah,
So
we do. We do
yeah,
use that
that's
a
like
lot.
we have an entire class for it, and then like we have to as a card pile. I think it's for a blackjack game that we had to do.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Okay. Yep. That is true. We do have a blackjack game we need to make. I've already finished the blackjack game. I just have to demo it like next week. Like it's actually not that long.
I have to demo mine tomorrow.
Good luck.
Yeah.
You got this. All right. Yeah, you got this. So, static variables and functions. Now, this is also a very useful modifier for certain applications that want to declare something like global variables, like class-wide variables, if you will. So, static variables exist as parts of the entire class. It doesn't exist in object instances, though, but the objects themselves can refer to them as well. So you don't really need to create an object to actually access static variables. Now, static methods have similar properties to as static variables. I'm not sure why I said similar properties as static variables, but I hope you get the gist of what I mean. Static methods and variables they exist as parts of the entire class. You don't need to make an object to get to them. You just need to you just have to mention the class name and then use the dot operator and then just say the variable. An example that you may have seen is the math class. I'm sure you've used some math class before, right? Maybe not. Oh, you've heard of it? If you haven't, it's okay. But know that Java itself has a math class that you can use for various math functions and constants. It's really cool. Yeah. So instance methods inside the same class can also access static methods. So, goodness. So instance methods are just those without the static modifier, by the way. And yep. And for those who just joined in, welcome. And just let me know if you have any questions after the tutorial. We are in static variables and functions. We're gonna see maybe a few examples later on. So one thing you have to know about static variables and methods is that static methods cannot really access instance variables or methods. You'll need to create an object for those things. So for example, in the main class, I'm actually not able to access my instance variables in the same class unless I create an object of that class. It's really hard to describe, and I really actually didn't even create examples on this same slide, but I have an example here. So yeah, so I have the cup class. Okay, maybe I want to create one of those statistics entry. One of those statistics entries of how many cups I created. Okay. And I start by static integer of created cups, which is equal to 0. And I have also some public instance variables, like the color of my cup. At this point, we're just gonna use strings to store the color, but we know that there are better ways to store them. Like you can store them in RGB format or HSV. There are different formats. So yeah, just to let you know. I also have mentioned a constructor that initializes my color. Okay? And inside the constructor, what I do is I add the created cups by 1 to signal that I just created a cup and I would like to add that to my statistics. Okay? So let's go to the main class. That should be in another file, but that's okay. We have the main method in the main class, and I created 2 cups, blue and red cups. And what I want to do is then I want to print out the created cups, the number of created cups in the cup class. So what did I do here? Well, what I have is I mentioned the class name and then the dot operator. We use that a lot. And then the created cups variable. Since it's public, I'm fine with that. Okay? Any questions so far? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. And all right. I'm gonna erase all the ink here because I don't like to see them on my slides. So here's the question. What is the output? Anyone want to take a guess? Anyone? All right. It is fine if people don't answer. It's okay. As long as you all learn. All right. So we got so we have the main class. The main class is gonna run the main method. Okay. And I created 1 cup, so that will add the created cups by 1. And then I create another cup that will also increase created cups by 1. So I increase created cups 2 times. So what I should have is 2. Okay? So yep, that's 2. Each initialized cup adds created cups by 1. And we have 2 cups, so we should have 2 in the created cups field. or the created cup static variable. Okay? Any questions so far? All right, I can keep going then. Now, just to remind you a small bit about constants in Java. You can recall that you can make constants by using the static and final modifiers. And static will make the variable accessible without creating an object, or like without creating an instance of the class itself. So you can just use the class name and then dot and then the constant's name, and that makes a lot more sense. Final will make the variable immutable once it's defined. So if you put them together like this, you have constants that behave properly like constants. Okay? Like you have global variables because of static, and then you have immutable constants because of the final keyword. So in Java, we declare constants like that. Okay? And fun facts, yes, this is a nod to PCS 224 and maybe some other older PCS courses. Yep, these are physics constants. Cool, eh? So you have gravitational acceleration being 9.81 meters per second squared. Coulomb's constant, which is about 9 times 10 to the 9s Newton meter squared per Coulomb squared. And you have also our newly learned Boltzmann constant, which is 8.617 times 10 to the negative 5 EV, electron volts per Kelvin. Okay, moving on. We have variable length arguments. So this is the last thing I'm ever gonna cover because we don't really have a lot of stuff to cover this week. So variable length arguments mean that a parameter can represent multiple values of any arbitrary length. So it's like passing an array to a function, but you don't even need to define an array. Well, at least you don't have to, but you can pass an array and that works too. So you could use the 3 dots to indicate a parameter being a variable length argument. Okay. Just know that all the values passed into a variable length argument will be stored into an array. Okay? You can then use you can loop through that parameter like it's an array. So here is here's an example of what I mean. I have 2 static methods. The reason why I have to make it static is because the main method is a static method as well. So I want to make the product method accessible to the main method as well. So we have the products method, and I will take in a list of doubles of arbitrary lengths using variable length arguments. So I will start my result, which we will return with 1, and then I will multiply all the results by all the numbers. So I go through each number in nums, and I multiply by each number. So you should get the product of all the numbers. So let's see what the output is in this one. So we have products of 1, 3, 5, 7, 8. So that would make if you use the calculator, you should get 840. And for the second one, you have 2 times 4 times 7.15, so that is 60.2, I think. Or actually, hang on, no, that's 57.2. That's fine. So I have 840 and 57.2. So use your calculator to calculate these because calculation mistakes are a thing. So just take the products of all the parameters for each call of product. That's it. And you can call it like that, or just pass an array of them, and that's fine too. So you can also pass an array like this. And that works as well, by the way. So, now that we have learned all we need to do in all we need to learn this week, let's do a bit of a live demo to demonstrate what we learned today. So I have a main class, and I'm going to make a method called sum, which will sum all the numbers passed to it. And I will this time use a scanner to prompt the user the numbers they want. First, I will prompt how many they want to input, and then the integers themselves. Use a for loop for that one. And then I will store these integers in an array list because I won't know how many things user can input, and maybe I want to add more or remove something. And then I will print all the integers in a comma separated format. There are different ways to do it, but I will explore which one to use. And I will then convert the array list into an array of integers and call the sum method to print the sum. Okay, so that's about it. So first things first. Let's go ahead and open up NetBeans. Okay. Just gonna give it a moment. All right. So I will also close this. Come on. Close. I don't need you now. So let me go ahead and make a new project called which is a Java class library. Use Java with Ant so that you can run your projects whenever you can. Let me see if I can find the correct workspace for this. I'm gonna use this one, tutorial 4. Okay. And then I'm gonna finish because I'm in the right thing. I will also see like which hang on. Let's see. Let me go to the directory to see how I format my packages. Because apparently I forgot because it's been like 2 weeks. Let's see here. Yeah, I think it's just tutorial 3. So in that case, I'm just going to use tutorial 4, and I'm gonna make a main class called main, and I'm going to use tutorial 4 dot sum. I don't know. You can call it whatever you want this time. I'm just gonna call it sum. And I'm gonna call this class main because why not? So I'm gonna have my application logic here. So let's start with what we need first. We need to we want to create a static method. I'm going to actually change this up and make this static because we're gonna need that in the main method. Then I'm going to make it public because why not? I'm gonna make it an integer. Sure, let's make it an integer. Called sum, which is an integer. I'm gonna make it periodic of sums, and there you go. I'm going to also give this oh, it's not sum, it's nums. Whoops. Okay, so I'm gonna make this nums. How should I say this? The numbers to add, which also can be an integer array. return the sum of all the nums. There you go. And then sometimes you just want to write the documentation so that you can like know what you're doing as well. So let me go ahead and share my screen here because I literally forgot to do that. So hang on. Let me share my screen. Okay. So we have this. Just make yourself a project with the package called sum. And I'm going to call this I'm going to first implement the sum function first, or the sum method. So in that case, I'm gonna give this thing the results, which is 0. I'll start at 0, and then I'm gonna take each number n in nums. Hang on, in nums. So I'm gonna use the enhanced for loop for that, and I'm going to add n to the results, and then I will return the result. Okay, this is like so this for loop will go through each number in nums, and we will add the result by n, which is each number in nums. Okay, then let's see what's going on next. We're gonna use a scanner class. Okay, and I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna go to the main method, and I'm going to type scanner, and I'm going to call it in equals to I'm gonna make a new scanner, and we're gonna use system.in to make that scanner. Oh, what's going on here? What's this? Oh, we need to import that apparently. java.util.scanner. We're gonna need to use that. So now, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to now print out a message saying how many integers will you add. So I'm gonna write this message so that you can I don't think I'm gonna print a new line afterwards, so I'm just gonna say print. And then I'm going to take an integer of well, I wonder which variable I should use. Maybe n? Maybe n. Yeah. I'm gonna use n as our or count, or either count or n. I'm gonna use count. Why not? And I'm going to let that equal to n.nextInt. So nextInt will actually give you the next integer in the inputs. So if you put in a number, it will convert to a number without any without doing a lot of parse int or whatnot. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hang on. Let's see. I'm going to make an array list of integers called nums list, which is hang on. I will also need to import array list as well. I'm gonna make that equal to an array list of integers, and I'm going to start everything with the count. Oh, hang on. Unexpected type. Oh. Do I not need this? Oh. Do I not? Really? What? Hang on. What's this? Required reference found int. Oh, I know what happened. Okay. So I realized something really, really bad that happened. What you're not supposed to use is you're not supposed to use a primitive type. You're supposed to use you're supposed to actually use oh goodness. You're supposed to actually use class types. I finally understand why this thing maybe I forgot something because I'm going to actually change everything here. So also make sure you pass in a class type. So for example, integer, not a primitive type like int. Okay? So I'm gonna change that up. Oh my goodness, that was stupid. That was stupid of me. But that's okay. It happens a lot, and I hope you understand that. So I'm gonna change it right now. Integer. And I'm gonna change that to also integer. There you go, that works. Okay. So now, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use a counting for loop with I being the counter. And I'm gonna count count times, which is the number of integers we need. And I'm going to add I by 1 for every count. So now I'm going to add the next integer the user puts. So I'm just gonna use numList.add in.nextInt. What you can also do is you can just say something like int and then num equals in.nextInt. And then you can pass in num here, and that works too. Okay? There you go. So here is your so here's the number. Remember that the integer class can also refer to the primitive type int as well, but it's in a class. Primitive types don't really have methods because that would actually suck. But the integer class does, and it corresponds to int. So there you go. So we have a list of integers, which is cool. And now we want to print out our numbers. So let's see here. Your numbers. And before that, I'm going to also print out a message saying please insert count numbers. So there you go. I'm going to prompt the user to count that many numbers. And I'm going to then print your numbers. And I'm going to try something here. I want to see if I can use the string type. And I can join. There you go. Yes. In that case, I want to join this with a comma and a space in a string. And then what are the elements? Well, it's gonna be the num list. That is, if it works. Is it iterable though? Let's see. Nope. That's not gonna work. Okay. So that is oh, it's nums list. Does that work? No. Let's see. Do I have to turn that into an array? Maybe. To array. Like, hang on. What does string.join do? Returns a new string with copies of. Oh. Okay. So in that case, we just upon using the specific. So that's format. All right. So in that case, that's okay. We can just use a for loop for that. In that case, just use for int n or num in num's list. I'm going to also define a boolean called first number process to see to indicate if we process the first number, and if we did, then we're gonna add a comma and a space before we process the next one, and that's gonna be implemented before we even print the numbers. Okay. So now I'm going to type if the first number is already processed, then what we're gonna print is I'm not gonna print a line here. I'm going to print a comma and a space like this, and then after the if statement, I'm just going to print the number itself without any new lines, and I'm gonna do that for each number. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to print a new line without anything. That will print just the new line character, and that's about it. The reason why we need this new line is because we're not gonna do that in the for loop. We're gonna do that afterwards. So, let's see what's next. The last thing is we want to turn the array list into an array like this. So, I'm going to say num's array is equal to new int, and then I'm not gonna make it a new int, of course not. We need to turn the num's list into an array. So just call to array on the num's list, and that's about it. Let's see if that works. Hang on. Oh. Oh yeah, I forgot. We need to cast it apparently. So I'm going to turn that into an integer array. I'm gonna cast it as 1. And then I'm going to int numsum maybe is equal to, I'm gonna call the sum, and if num's array actually works, maybe that will work. No, it will not. Okay. Okay, maybe not. Let's see here. To array, and then let's see what we have here. And let's see if there's anything about to array that I need to think of. To array. Hmm. Okay. Ah, well, that's fun. Yep, I think I can also just use I can like also just use the integer type, but let's see if I can search the web for that. Hang on. Oh goodness. All right. Sometimes this thing happens. Java integer class to int. Okay. Okay. Is there something that I can use here? This would give the hash code. This would give comparison, bit count, and then let's see here. Oh goodness, wow. Oh, that's gonna give the integer though. Signum. Oh, signum returns the sign though. Huh, interesting. All right. So, that's kind of, well, that's kind of bad. Let's see. Integer class to, okay, integer array list to int array. All right. Let's see if there's something that I can use for this. Oh, well, that does require some like really advanced stuff. So, oh well. You know what? That's okay. What we can do is we can just turn that sum into just an integer. And that will be fine as well because what this integer class can do is to just turn itself into int in the addition, and I think that should be fine. I'm not sure about that though. And then what I will do is I will just print out the sum is, and then num's sum, and that's it. Okay. I'm not sure if this will work in runtime though, so let's see. Okay, how many integers will we add? Let's add 5. And then I will input 5 numbers, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8. Okay, this is not working. Oh. Okay. Okay, so that's not good at all. So what if I cast it explicitly like this? So if I put it like this, I'm not sure if that works though. No, it doesn't. What is it? Integer cannot be converted to int. So convert integer to int. Oh. We need to convert that into int value. Okay, not a problem. Okay, not a problem. I'm going to actually change the conditions then because I cannot cast it like this. So if I undo everything here, I'm going to have integer, and then I'm going to use for integer n. So we're gonna go through each one, and then I'm going to call int value on the n, and that will return ourselves an integer. So yeah, that's kind of like casting from the integer class to int, but it's not. Like the integer class is a little bit different. Like, goodness, it kind of sucks. But that's okay. All right, here we go. Let's see if this works. I'm gonna add 5, 2, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so we got line what? Line 56. You cannot cast it like that. Okay. So how about we use something like this? No, you cannot. Oh. To array of integer? No? Okay. You know what? Hang on. How about we use nums list dot to array. We can actually use this. And then args. Hang on. To array. And then I'm gonna use nums array to put it in, I think. Maybe? Okay, what does it want now? Initialize variable nums array. Nums array. Maybe I can initialize it like this. So what if I do that? What does this do? To array. Let's see. To array with A. We just containing all items in the process. The runtime of the otherwise scenario is allocated with the runtime. Okay, yep, I think that works. In that case, I'm gonna do it like this. And I think what nums array will actually I think, yeah, this actually returns the type that I want. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that then. Okay, so if I look at this now, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. Ah, there you go. Okay. So also, one thing I forgot is to set first number process to true. Yeah, it was a mess and I really apologize, but I'm going to now run this 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. There you go. 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, which is the sum of 23. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to actually post the solution to the slides right now, so that you don't have to like suffer like what I did. This is kind of uncalled for, but it happens a lot in programming. So in programming and software development. So yeah, please be aware of sometimes stuff like that happens a lot. So let's go ahead and end the tutorial. And yeah, that's it. And let me go ahead and go here. So that's it. That's all, folks. So I hope everyone will have a wonderful day, and I will see you all next week. Okay? We will maybe talk about like inheritance and all that, maybe, but it depends on what we covered in this week. So yeah, see you all next week. Bye.